All right, so it's coming up on time for me to get a haircut. So, uh, welcome to the Short Vol Show Live. My name's David Lincoln, and market makers are scumbags. I have a picture behind me of a vintage picture from when I was in the Xilinx pit. You can see me back over my left shoulder there, half asleep, with that's Jimmy Gass, James Keaty, and Kenny in the front row there. Cinnamon standing behind Gaz there. You can just see her head. We do have actual female traders back then. But look, market makers, I stood there and I spent every day of basically my 20s trying to figure out new ways to screw retail customers. So, market makers are experts in figuring this stuff out. And I wanted to go to a question that was, or a comment that was put up on a video yesterday. Let me see if I can find it here. And just kind of to exemplify how market makers think. And we can do this. This is not going to take long. Okay, so this, let me switch this over here. So this gentleman from Italy said, I tried to sell, hold on, I need to fill out the whole comment here. Okay. Do you think it's good to sell on Friday just before the close so it will decay over the weekend instead of selling it on Monday? So this is a commonly asked question and thought about question, which is, all right, you've got options. We were talking about this bullseye strategy, which is to sell a naked call at the money call and just kind of ride that decay through a week. And then when at the end of the week, either the call expires worthless, or if it's still in the money call, you roll it out to the next week. And the question is, all right, if you're starting a position, would you rather start it on Friday afternoon or Monday morning? And the OP, the original poster, was suggesting that it would be better to sell the call Friday afternoon because then you collect the decay for the weekend. Well, when you think about this, I would direct you back to the title of this video, which is Market Makers Are Scumbags. So, as a market maker, and I'm positive this still goes on because it just makes sense. As a market maker, when we're on a Friday, the last thing I want to do on a Friday is to buy some call and know that when I adjust my sheets for Monday morning, I'm going to have lost money on it, right? So a lot of times what market makers would do is change the prices to Monday's prices about halfway through the day on a Friday. And if you've got a weekend like this, which is a holiday weekend, we would actually go to the extreme of actually changing the prices to Tuesday, right? Stuff's closed Monday. So you'll notice that prices actually in options the day before a holiday weekend, or even about halfway through the day on Fridays, go down to the point where there's going to be no difference between the price of a call on a Monday morning as compared to the price of the call on a Friday afternoon, because usually market makers will take the decay for the weekend out of stuff on the Friday afternoon, especially if they have sellers coming in, because they're not going to get tricked by that idea of oh, here, I'm going to let you, the market maker, hold the bag on this decay for the weekend. Here, just hold on to this for the weekend, and you're going to pay for it. It's not the way it works. The way it works is stuff gets discounted for the weekend and for the holiday sometime on Friday. That way, so if you want to sell something, I would suggest selling it on Thursday, because the decay is probably going to come out on Friday for the weekend. That's just the way stuff works. And with the VIX, we talk a lot about weekend, about the weekend effect, and that is a specific effect to the actual price of the VIX. But as far as options are concerned, it's really going to make no difference if you sell it on a Friday afternoon or a Monday in most cases, because they're going to take the decay out for the weekend ahead of time usually. But that's a good thought. I would suggest to you, I would suggest to retail people, if you come up with a unique idea that to capitalize on the market, that you reflect on the fact that there's tons and tons and tons of players out here who are all thinking and are all trying to screw each other. So if you come up with an idea, probably there's a good chance that probably somebody else has come up with that idea as well. I like to just be humbled by the market and be humbled by how many smart people there are out there playing this game, and recognize that there's no real free money out there. And if something feels like, like somebody's giving you free money, or you got an idea that nobody thought about, you might want to rethink your what you're doing. It's just it's tough out there, and you don't underestimate the market. So the question, should you sell it on a Monday or a Friday? It doesn't really make a difference, and I think if you looked at the numbers, it would bear that out a little bit. Now, certainly, when you're selling a call and something needs to decay, you're just going to have to sell it and be patient for that week period. The stuff will come in, but it just doesn't come in overnight necessarily. Obviously, if earnings come out or something, then stuff gets taken down immediately. But that theta number on your sheets, stuff doesn't decay in such an organized way as it shows on your sheets a lot of times. All right, so what is the deal today? What's going on today? Well, we're up around that point in the E-minis that we were talking about, and we still haven't completely broken through. If you look, here's this spot again that we just can't seem to get through. We did rally on the open a little bit today. On the close, I had an offer dangled in to sell out of my short in UVXY, and I did get filled right on the close to close out my short. And so right now I'm looking to re-enter into a short, and I've been kind of hanging out because the market seems to be kind of wobbling a little bit here. Let's take a look at I'm trying to get to the E-minis daily. Okay, so here's the E-minis on the daily, and we haven't exactly rallied on the open, so I'm hanging out here with no position. I'm looking to reestablish my short here somewhere, because I was short all the way up from like 20 something, so I do want to be short all the way down. I don't want to have the UVXY go down like 3 points and me not participate here, because that would be detrimental to my overall P&L. But I'm looking for a place to re-enter here, and it seems like so far this morning, the longer I wait, the better prices are getting to re-enter here. UVXY now back over 3110 as we're hanging out here. So yeah, unfortunately, this is one of the only pictures I have from the SIBO of myself, actually. I did have one of me and a bunch of buddies from the OEX hanging out outside the SIBO for years and years and years, and I don't know where it went to. They were people didn't like you taking pictures on the floor back then. It wasn't like today where everybody has a phone and everybody's taking pictures all the time of everything. There was if you started taking pictures, people got pissed off. And even when there was a lot of news cameras and stuff on the floor, people would if news cameras came on, we would turn our badges over, because you don't want some psycho sees you on the news, blows up the fine print to see your name and comes in to your house because they think you're rich and kills you or something. So we didn't like publicity, and my company actually had because of some detrimental things people had said on the news in the past, we had a blackout on talking publicly. So like most companies do, you're not supposed to talk to the press ever. Even if you work for McDonald's or something, they'll tell you that. But unfortunately, there's almost no pictures of the pit. Um, and it's the same thing with when we were in San Francisco, which is it's kind of lame. This guy did go around and take pictures of all the different pits at the SIBO, and that's where this picture is from, a series of those shots where like once a year they go around and take pictures of the different pits. But it's kind of a bummer we don't have more of that stuff. So yeah, I'm looking to execute here to reestablish my short at some point here. As we look at the charts, we are kind of back in a much normaler situation now. If we go to VIX Central, we can see the chart is looking more normalized as time goes by here. That dimple in December doesn't look as extreme. And I mean, this should arrange itself just to like a straight, a sideways upward slanting line. But we're seeing contango at 3.5%. The distance between spot and the first month future is a decent distance. It could be a little bit wider. What's that, like 60 cents? But we'll just have to wait and see. I think that there's a lot of question in the market right now. The big thing is just are we going to break through the upside here, or are we not going to be able to make it and roll back down? It's hard to see what's going on here. E-minis were up way up here earlier. They look to be rallying back now. I'm looking to just reestablish my short here, and we're going to see if we're able to bust through this area though in the market. It's hard to tell what's going to happen here. But even if we just stay up here, it's like the crisis might be over. This big spike may be over now. I mean, we might just roll back down UVXY back to the lows. It's kind of starting to feel that way. The other thing that could happen is like, we go into this long weekend and then the fireworks resume on like on Tuesday. So that's kind of where we stand right now. I appreciate everybody's positive comments. It's great to, I don't have all that many viewers compared with other YouTubers, but the viewers I have are so active and participate, and I've gotten to know a lot of you, at least in the sense that having individual chats with many of you. So that's been a lot of fun. It's one of the most rewarding things about being a YouTuber and actually doing stuff in the financial area here is that I've gotten to meet a whole bunch of cool people over the world, and so that's been really fun. All right, so it looks like UVXY is starting to give it back here. So what I've been looking at as far as stuff to do here is I've just been looking at put spreads, maybe no over D's, kind of at the money put spreads, just to not be too extreme one way or the other, but just to participate on the way down. That's what I've been looking at. I was actually looking, this is kind of an aggressive one, but the NOV 28.24 put spread, double your money if this goes to 24. It's pretty aggressive to think this could go to 24 in 77 days. However, it's not at all out of the realm of possibility if we just kind of roll over here. So let's see if we can buy 10 spreads paying $2.03 here. I just put a bid in mid-market. Look, there's no trade on this stuff all day. You can see the volume. It's like 0, 0, 0, 0. That's kind of the scary part here. You don't have a whole lot of liquidity here. If we go over to VXX, there's probably more liquidity. So VXX, a comparable spread might be something like the the 25-23 spread, but once again, not a whole lot has traded in here. Things are kind of calm right now. I have this I have this feeling that like as soon as I put on some sort of reestablish a short in this thing, these E-minis are going to go negative on the day. It's like but you gotta set it and forget it, right? So just kind of watching things unfolding here. So that's where things stand for me over in this little part of the world. Let's take a look quickly at the... do I have a screen open with comments? Let's see. Let me quickly mute the watch page here. There we go. Hey, welcome, folks. What's going on? Only a couple people watching right now. I guess it's just because the market just opened and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's kind of where we stand. Stay tuned. Currently, no position on for me here. Just kind of hanging out because like I said, I'm kind of concerned. I don't usually look at key areas, but just it really has me a little spooked, this whole thing that we've kind of oscillated in this one little spot for so long in the E-minis. You can see on this chart, it's just that one little area that we've just stayed at for a while. If we switch to the NASDAQ, maybe that gives us a little more clarity. Looks very similar though, doesn't it? There's a NASDAQ, very similar. And it's like, can we get through this or not? Or are we just going to roll back down? We've rolled back down so many times that it's hard to imagine us not having resistance at that spot again. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now. We can bust through to the upside. It could do something where it busts through the upside a little bit and then just head fakes back down. But I don't think I'm the only one that's watching this key level kind of thing, as they're calling it in the E-minis right there. Yeah, it's just kind of sitting right there. Let's take a look at world news really quick. I did check this before. Let's see if anything new is out there on Drudge Report. Monster Hurricane Dorian. Personal assistant steps down. Elizabeth Warren rally. And yeah, not a whole lot going on in the news world right this moment. So we'll see. They say never sell a dull market. We'll see if we rally from here or not. Meanwhile, UVXY really kind of hanging out up here. I would love to, now that I have no position for a sec, I would love for a pop to put a position on here. I would love, as soon as I take off my short, I'm like, let's pop to 40 in UVXY so I can reestablish the short. So I'm kind of hanging out here. I'm just going to look at some different spreads. Probably what I'm going to do is kind of lowball a bunch of different spreads here and try to bid on some stuff. Go through my screen and just look at a whole bunch of different spreads and see what I can bid on here that maybe I can get filled. I did like the idea of this NOV 28.24. Let's look at the 29.25. If we go out, the other thing I was looking at is what if you were to go to March? Now, in March, what if you just go to March, right, and just buy the 31 put? What if you were just to buy the 31 put and hold on to it for a while? What would be the decay for buying 10 of these puts? Just trying to think, if it's a really far out option, the decay is not that much to hold on to it. But let's look, analyze trade. So if you bought 10 puts, they decay $20 a day. And that would cost you $11,000. Yeah. $10,800. Of course. 1080 times 10. Really didn't need a calculator to figure that one out. The other thing I was looking at is what if you looked at way out of the money put spreads far out in time? So March, the March 2015 put spread. So you buy the 20, sell the 15. So you pay, it's like you could possibly double your money, but everything needs to kind of go right, and you got to wait months and months and months for that. Somebody wrote in also yesterday and was asking, well, what about what if I just wanted to sell some out of the money calls like a while out and just collect the money? Because it seems like free money, right? If you look at like, if we go to Jan and you look at like the 100 calls, it seems obvious that like UVXY is not going to be 100 in January, right? If it goes to 100, it's going to stay there for like 2 seconds. So this seems like free money, right? Sell the 100 call for 90 cents, and you just hang out, and obviously it's not going to be at 100, right? It's like 99.99% chance not going to be at 100. But the issue with that, and let me actually just go. I'll talk about this call for a second, but then I'll talk about the actual option this person was asking about. Jan 100 call, right? You sell it for $1, and that's a free $100, right? Because this thing's not going to be 100. There's no way. But the problem is that, all right, so it's going to cost you it's going to cost you $1,000. So you're gonna it's $1,000 in buying power, right? But the other real problem is that we don't need a spike to 100 for these calls to explode, right? If this thing goes to 50, these calls can go to like $4 or $5. So it's boom in your face. If stuff starts to spike, these calls go in your face. So you better be committed, because if you're not committed to this trade, you're going to end up spending like 3 times what you sold them for to get these back in at the worst possible moment. The other trade that this person was talking about was the Jan 21. So 504 days till expiration, 53 calls. What about selling these calls? So you sell the Jan 53 calls for $10. So $1,000. You sell a call for $1,000, right? I'm sorry, for $10. So you're collecting $1,000. And you're short this call, but you got to wait 500 days for it to come off your sheets. So this is going to reduce your buying power once again. So you do this, analyze trade, and it's going to, what's going to happen is it's going to take like $2,000 in buying power. And yeah, this is going to decay, but look, the decay is what? It's $1 a day. So you're collecting $1 a day, and you gotta wait until you gotta wait 500 days for this to come off your sheets. It just, yeah, there's a very, very good chance that UVXY is going to be below 53 in 504 days, but it's just locking up capital for a longer time than possibly necessary. That's just kind of what I see that trade as. I do appreciate people making comments and sending stuff in, though, so keep doing that and keep thinking. I like when people come up with original ideas and think and come up with their own ideas that's different than what other people are telling them. That's really what you need to do to be successful out here, is just come up with stuff, no matter how outrageous it may seem, or it's to come up with your own stuff. That's what you need to keep doing. So keep thinking, folks. I like all this stuff. You look all the time at these long-term options with just not just in UVXY, but in other stocks. Look at BYND. I'm not sure how many long-term options BYND has, but they've got Jan 21 options. It's the same thing with BYND. You could say, or like, let's take a put in like Amazon. If you go out, if you look at long-term stuff, it can all seem like such a deal to sell, but it can be hard to evaluate. So you look at Amazon, the 1,000 put in Jan. This thing's definitely going to be over 1,000 in Jan 21, right? Or what about even, you go more extreme, what about 800? It's definitely going to be over 800. This is free money, free $500, right? Selling one of these puts. Well, Probably, but it locks up your capital. That's the thing. And how many of us can actually like put a position on that doesn't expire for 500 days and just leave it on and just be content with the fact that like, oh, I've got like $3,000 locked up till Jan 21 and I'm fine with that. And I think that's definitely the place that $3,000 should be, as opposed to, you know, a million different other places. Or, you know, I could buy a motorcycle, or it could be in a certificate of deposit, or it could be, you know, I could be selling one more at the money call in UVXY. You could take that 3,000 buying power and sell an at the money call in UVXY every month and collect $200 every month, and you'd be way ahead. You know, $200 every month. I'm sorry, every week. So in 5 weeks, you've made the $1,000 that Jan 21 call would have made in 500 days. So in like less than 50 days, you've made as much money as you would have selling that Jan 53 call. So, you know, a lot of trading is just figuring out what the best use of your capital is. Now, we all have different amounts of, some of us have more money than others, but we all have a finite amount of capital. So the question is where does that capital go? What's the best place to put the limited money you have to make yourself money? Now, and you know, that is a fundamental question of investing, of course, and it comes down to how much risk you're willing to take, how much time you have, and other things. So yeah, we can find good trades out there, but is there a better alternative to that trade? That's a question you got to ask yourself in a lot of these situations. All right, so as we speak, UVXY is up another 25 cents. And so that's good because I haven't done anything yet. Let's see. So E-mini is now up 9 on the day. What if these could go negative here? Can we head back down for just another round on this volatility box here where the E-minis are? You know, if we want this market to sell off, all I have to do is put my short position on right now. If I buy a put spread, the market will tank immediately. So maybe I should just take one for the team. Everybody get long UVXY, then I'll get short UVXY, and it will for sure then go straight up. That's kind of what it feels like sometimes as a trader. All right, so there we are. Thanks for watching. I will see you again soon. I'll probably come on over the weekend for a little bit. But you guys are great, and we'll see you next time.